I would like to share something with you all. I have a book here in my hand. It's called Fossilized Customs, The Pagan Origins of Popular Customs. Now, many of you all have heard of this book, those who are in pursuit of the truth, and those who are familiar with a lot of the traditions and pagan customs that we as a people observe today. Now, when I say we as a people, I'm not speaking of a specific race. I mean people in general. Now, on page 5, I want to share something with you before I get started on exactly what it is I want to bring out. So if you have a few minutes, just listen up and watch with an open mind. It says, by tradition, lies have become mixed with the truth. And we all know this to be true. It says, by traditions, lies have become mixed with the truth. And we will uncover, expose, or reveal to you some of the things which we inherited from Babylon. They have become fossilized into our customs. Now think about this for a second. It says it's been fossilized into our customs. That means these rituals and these things have been passed down from generation to generation to generation. And now when you look at it, as a people, we no longer really question the origins of the things in which we as a people partake in. So therefore, when one brings something to someone and let them know, hey, you know that what you're doing, it may seem harmless and innocent, but however, it's rooted in pagan origins. And, we kind of as a people dismiss it. Oh, I grew up this way. So we become emotionally attached to something. And as a people, we don't want to let it go because, again, one, we want to please others. We worry about what others will be thinking about us. But with that being said, I want to address one of the most popular holidays that is coming up shortly. And it is definitely something that you will want to partake in. Now, of course, everyone does not agree with religion. Everyone does not agree with the Bible. But if you're one who holds the Bible as truth, then you definitely would like to listen to this regardless of what your religious background is. Now, I'm going to go ahead and share something with you. And this is on page 47. Okay, and in the topic you see is Halloween. Okay, it says Halloween. Now, pay very close attention because you'll see that when Halloween, well, what you know today as Halloween when it first came about, you're doing some of the same things today that they did back then. But anyway, it says Halloween. It says, the two Celtic words, hallowed evening, came from what's known as All Hallows Even. And now we call it Halloween. So we see that's a different name. Same thing. It says, this has now become even more popular than Easter and rivals, which is Christmas. Now watch this, and let's see where it comes from. It says, the roots of this festival or holiday come to us from Druid demon worship. Druid demon worship. Then it says, witches were said to fly brooms over the crops to teach them how to grow. But it says it was a fertility myth. Now, again, I just want to read some of this. All right, I just want to get the meat of this. It says, the ritual or holiday we embrace as Halloween was originally, meaning first, it was originally called the Feast of the Dead. Now, understand that Halloween comes from Druid demon worship. And it was, before it was known as Hallows Evening, Halloween, it was originally called the Feast of the Dead. Now, look at where you have your children partaking in. All right. Then it goes on to say, it was a dreaded occasion since it thought that time stood still. Now, you know what? One thing I want to address as well. It says, it was originally called the Feast of the Dead. Samhain was on November the 1st. So originally it was on the 1st. But it said, these pre-Christian Druids had the barbarians doing ghastly things. It was a dreaded occasion since it was thought that time stood still and the souls of the dead walked the land. Now think about this. On Halloween, what would your children be dressed like? Ghosts. And what would they be doing? Walking or roaming the land. You see that? The same thing that you're partaking in, Druid demons, of those who were partaking in Druid demon worships. You see where I'm going with this? Of course. Same thing. Then it goes on to say, especially food were left outside for these roaming ghosts. Now think about it. When your child go trick or treat, right? Some people who are afraid of others will leave the trick or treats outside, so no one won't do anything to the house. You know how you did as a kid. You TP their homes and things like that. Well, at least I did. And of course, when I came and realized the truth about Halloween, of course, I had to break away from it because it came to us from Druid demon worship, and it was not of the Most High. But then it goes on to say, um, gifts, especially food, like snacks, of course, were left outside for these Roman ghosts, with the hope that no harm would come to the households. It says, the Druid chose certain children to be burned alive on bonfires as offerings to the sun. Because remember, they were pagans. It says, parents tie yellow ribbons around trees as prayers to the sun to have their children spared. Now, when you think about this, they do pretty much the same thing on Halloween. But now today, they tie orange ribbons around the trees. I still see this to this day. It says, the fat left over from the child was fashioned into a candle, right? Then it says, and placed into a carved out pumpkin. Don't you partake in the pumpkin today? Where do you think this comes from? From Druid demon worship. Then it says, the fat left over from the child was fashioned to a candle and placed into a carved out pumpkin or hollowed out vegetable with a round sun-shaped design. So you'll see when you go to some homes, if you ignore this video and still go, you'll see that people will have like watermelons and things out there. Nothing has changed, guys. But then it goes on to say the victim. Who's the victim? The child that was burned alive in bonfires, whose the fat of their skin was, fashioned into a candle and placed in a pumpkin. And of course, this was the victim. It says the victim was called Jack of the Lantern. Jack of the Lantern. Jack-o'-lantern. It's the same thing. Where do you think this comes from? Say it with me, guys. Druid demon worship. Halloween is from where? Druid demon worship. It was originally called the Feast of the Dead. Feast of the Dead. But then it says again, the victim was called Jack of the Lantern. Now think about this for a second. Again, this was called Druid. It was known as Druid demon worship. It was also known as the Feast of the Dead. Now think about this. If you're one who holds the Bible as the truth, now again, we don't all believe in the Bible. I understand that. We all have different views. I understand that. But if you're one out there who holds the Bible as the truth and you're calling yourself a follower of the Bible, do you really want your child to partake in Druid demon worship? Do you really want them to partake in the Feast of the Dead? Now think about it. You may say, well, I ain't no devil worshiper. I don't do these things. But ask yourself, where did it come from? From Druid demon worship. So if you're partaking in it and you're saying, hey, I don't worship the devil, devil just means deceiver anyway. You're being deceived if you're following these customs. Now, I'm not here to beat you down. I'm only here to lift you up and share information with you that you might want to get the understanding of what it is that you're partaking in. So all this things that your churches that you might do with trunk or treat and things like that, it may seem innocent. You may want to keep your kids off the streets and things like that. Why not sit them down and read the Bible to them if you hold the Bible as the truth? Or whatever it is that you read or whatever it is that you do that is truth to you, why don't you sit and do that on that night? Now, of course, I encourage you all to believe in the Bible because this is a book that I believe in, but that's another topic. I did not want to discuss that. I just want to talk about this Halloween, this Druid demon worship that you will be partaking in on the Feast of the Dead. Oh, I'm sorry, you call it Halloween today. So different names, same thing. It's the same thing. Now think about it. Ask yourself, would you buy your child a Ouija board? Would you want them to be involved in witchcraft? If your answer is no, that means you have some morals. But think about this. If you won't allow them to do that, then why would you allow them to be partaking in Druid demon worship? Halloween was called the Feast of the Dead. Think about it. Feast of the Dead. Druid demon worship. The children were carved into, and the fat of the children was carved into pumpkins. And they called it Jack of the Lantern. Now, how much has really changed since back then in the ancient world and today? But you no longer question it. Why? Because it's been fossilized into your customs. So therefore, you look at it as innocent and it doesn't really matter. But understand, if you believe in the Bible, you serve a jealous God. Understand what you're getting yourself into and what you're getting your children involved into. But hey, who am I to judge, right?